Hey, friends. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us for episode 5 of the Ajayi Effect podcast, where you are reminded that you are never alone on this winding road of life. You can show up as your whole self for the entire journey, and you are honored. Your struggles are acknowledged, and your victories are celebrated here. Oh, and if it's happening in the world, we will discuss it. Here, you are capable of big things. We'll get to our combo in a few, but first, a toast to our sponsor, me, Dupe Ajayi. Dupe's professional journey embodies the transformative power of marketing for change, driven by a steadfast commitment to equity. With roles at organizations like Airbnb.org, ABC News, and Rent the Runway's project entrepreneur, she has honed her skills as a storyteller and a marketer. Each experience has contributed to her expertise in crafting narratives that inspire change. If equity isn't at the core, she won't be. Follow Dupe here at the Ajayi Effect podcast and at the Ajayi Effect on all platforms. Now let's get into it. It's National Mental Health Awareness Month, and I don't know about y'all, but the month has been monthing. Okay, it has been taking a toll. That said, I want to talk to you about a topic that can't be spoken about enough. It's the impact of stress on Black women in the workplace. For most people, a day at the office means fulfilling their work responsibilities, taking breaks, having lunch, and then heading home at the end of the day. It's simple, or at least it should be. For Black women, it's regularly a much different experience. Typically, it's a day filled with challenges that will take a toll on their well-being. The workday is more likely to involve microaggressions, feeling like they don't measure up to their colleagues, and feeling that they need to overachieve to be seen, heard, or simply maintain employment. Stress in the workplace for Black women saw a decrease with remote work as an option during the pandemic. Many Black women experienced less stress and trauma from workplace microaggressive behaviors because they simply weren't at work. As we have returned to the office, whether we want to or not, that stress has returned. There are no criteria or limitations or boundaries for where these moments and events take place. They are happening in Hollywood, they are happening in the sports world, they are happening in local businesses, in your community, in academia, and they are happening in Congress. Remember this?
Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about,
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Order.
Mr. Chairman,
That's beneath
would you
even
please
order.
regain the order of your committee?
Order.
An absolute hot, stinking mess. And we witness the struggles that Black women face in academia through what Dr. Claudine Gay and Dr. Antoinette Bonnie Candida Bailey faced. And tragically, it became too much for Dr. Bailey. The doorway to hope opened slightly when many businesses embraced diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, that is DEIA programs, following the murder of George Floyd. For a short window of time, things were actually looking up. I remember believing that maybe things would change. I know I wasn't alone. I had conversations with my friends, and we all believed that maybe things would finally be turning a corner. We were wrong. Recently, we've seen that door closing at many businesses and institutions, and in some cases, it's like an invisible deadbolt lock was added to keep the idea of DEIA securely locked away. In talking about the stressful and traumatic experiences of Black women, we would not do justice to the conversation without talking about the added challenges they face in coping with those experiences. If you are a Black woman, you have probably learned over time to silence yourself. You've probably learned or heard to stay focused, keep your head down, don't show emotion, Don't say anything. Don't go to HR. Don't speak too loudly. Don't speak too softly. Assert yourself. Don't assert yourself too much. Don't make anybody mad. Smile. You sound angry. Are you annoyed? You have probably heard one, if not all, of those things over time, and you've probably learned to just suck it up, swallow it, and act as if you are strong and impermeable. Raise your hand if you've heard any of those things before. Oh, okay. And you know what's so funny is that when you do self-advocate, when you do stand up for yourself, oftentimes you're gaslit. What's good for the goose is not good for the gander.
Please, it means destructive.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built bush body, that would not be engaging in personality, correct?
What the hell?
A 2010 study found that Black women may process and internalize stress differently than white women. Yeah. The research findings suggest that stressors may be responsible for increased biological aging in Black women, a process known as weathering. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that is the CDC, Black women have a life expectancy that is on average 3 years shorter than that of white women. And some of the root causes may be related to stress. So although they say Black don't crack, it may not be cracking on the surface, but inside damage is being done. You know, humans naturally produce a stress hormone called cortisol. I'm sure y'all have heard of it. And that same hormone that causes a fight or flight response that we feel when reacting to danger is triggered during stress. The stress that causes the most negative effect on Black women is chronic or ongoing stress. And as a result, Black women's bodies may produce more cortisol continually over time. Research from 2022 vividly describes the causes and effects of the adverse relationship Black women involuntarily have with stress. It's impossible to completely avoid or prevent stress. Juggling bills and incomes and family relationships and employers and co-workers, all of those things can be stress-inducing for Black women. The news and social media, those can also bring stress and feelings of anxiety right into our homes. But there are steps that we can take to reduce daily stress and to create a coping process that will work well. We've been hearing about the soft life for the past, 5 years now, maybe longer, maybe shorter. And we each have a view or a vision for what we believe a soft life actually is. But there are a few things that are undeniable. Black women must make self-care a priority, and that isn't selfish. It's actually a necessity and can be life-saving. A good first step is observing, monitoring your stress levels. And then next, just consider the supportive processes to nurture overall well-being. That is asking for help, learning how and when to say no. There are those boundaries, right? Building and leaning into a strong, supportive network. You've heard me talk about community, that network of trusted individuals to help place and keep stress in perspective. And if you are an ally to Black women, a true ally, or you would like to be, consider the following. Be an active listener. Commit to actually listening and not dismissing their concerns or Black women's contributions. Create safe spaces where they can feel seen, heard, and supported. Develop equitable and inclusive hiring, recognition, and promotion criteria. So during the occurrence that I have been referencing throughout this recording, my New York sis AOC of the squad representing the Bronx, she showed allyship during that hearing. Here's what she had to say.
Absolutely unacceptable. How dare you the physical appearance of another person?
Are your
Move
feelings
her
hurt?
words down. Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play, baby
Girl,
We are gonna move and we're gonna take your words down.
Oh, and while we're here, I have to point something out. Anti-Blackness, it can come even from our own, unfortunately. But more on that in another episode. In the meantime, thank you all for joining me today. Remember, protect your energy, protect your peace by any means necessary. And share what you heard with 2 of your girlies or your guys, and help us grow this community into one that supports each other. Be sure to follow The Ajayi Effect on all platforms. This episode was conceptualized, produced, and edited by Dupe O. Ajayi. Till next time, remember, you are capable of big things.